Just in case this is broadcasting, who knows at this point if it is or if it isn't. I don't have everything set up, but this is basically a test stream. So we're basically doing a test, and I am live here from ShipperHQ. This is a new setup. I've got a new computer here, and so I'm not sure if all of this stuff is working or not working. So we're just going to have to deal with it. We normally have some technical glitches because we're always pushing the envelope of what we can and can't do, what we are and are not able to do, and this is part of it. We've got a stream coming up next week at Mage Titans, and then we've got one at Meet Magento, so I needed to test. And I'm in Austin, Texas, and what better place to do that from than ShipperHQ? So I've got Quentin here from ShipperHQ.
Hello.
Make sure you're not, let's not mute it. I need to turn my headphones on here for a second and make 100% sure that you guys can actually hear us. I need to test the audio. Normally I have my headphones on because I'm talking to someone remotely. So this in-person live stream thing is we've done it before, but it's kind of new.
We might be doing a live stream for the deaf.
Sounds like y'all got audio. So I'm going to mute this right here. We've got the chat pulled up right now, so we've got some squeaky chairs here, so if you hear the background squeaks, I apologize. But if you have any questions, any thoughts, anything you want to talk about, post it in the chat, and we'll be happy to talk about it. What we came here to talk about is handling complex shipping, and also to drink pumpkin spice beer. So I've got some Oktoberfest, but in this Oktoberfest, we got a good beer to wash down
the great beer,
whatever this is here. This Shipyard Brewing Pumpkinhead, Shipyard Brewing Pumpkinhead, which if you're at ShipperHQ, having Shipyard beer just seems to make sense to me. I don't know. So should you go first? Should I go? It's all about the audio, folks.
It's one of those ASMR videos where, like the sound is like the thing. We will talk like this.
Yeah, well, I tend to get a little loud on the live stream, and we do have people in the office behind us handling calls and stuff, so they're not working. They're just making noise in there themselves.
We do a lot of, aggressive typing to make it sound like we're doing a lot.
Very loud keyboards is what we have here. So I've never had anything pumpkin spice. This all started on Twitter.
Never?
I've never eaten or drank anything pumpkin spice. Now, I've had like a pumpkin pie, but nothing artificially flavored pumpkin spice. Which led to this conversation, which led to me being here, trying this pumpkin spice beer.
Cheers.
So,
hope you love it. So refreshing. It's good. It tastes like November to me. It tastes like just like I don't know, holidays.
It's okay. It's one of those flavors, like a lot of flavored beers, where the first sip is like, okay, I recognize that, I get it, but I feel like by the time I get to the bottom of this beer, I'm going to hate it, and then I'm never going to drink the second one.
I could see it kind of having a funky, end of beer taste. I had a guy yesterday I was with who was telling me that there's the 5-minute rule to beer for stout beers. It's because it's not what a stout beer tastes like when you're drinking it. It's what it tastes like 5 minutes later. So what they'll do is they'll get a stout, they'll take a sip of it, and they leave the beer for 5 minutes, and then they come back and they drink it. And if it still tastes good, then it's a good stout. Because I guess towards the end of it, it gets kind of warm. It's how does it taste for that? The whole flavor changes.
Well, beer definitely changes when it gets warm, and these are slightly warm. So we're definitely getting all the flavor here. We're getting a full-flavored pumpkin spice beer by Shipyard Brewing Company. Shipyard, you should be sponsoring the live stream here, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, no free ads. No more Shipyard.
No more free ads.
This is sponsored by Bud Light Lime and Orange.
And we do have the ShipperHQ logo down here. We're trying out some new graphics and things, seeing if we can't get a little more elaborate with that.
Is it here? Or is
it's actually below me. It's down here.
Nice.
Yeah, it's
Good
like the weatherman. See, it's here. So again, we can't see it. That's what's for those that are watching at home.
The next time
we're
you
looking
come,
at a
we'll set it
screen
up.
way over here that doesn't have the graphics on it. So we're looking. I have it pulled up in the live stream. Jamie Huskinson says, and I don't have where I can pull up the comments at this point. I didn't have time to set that up today, but we'll get that going for next week. But Jamie says a beer review show with both of you, make this magic happen. You know what? That wouldn't be a bad thing. Now, I don't know, with us being separated by 13 hours, I think it took me to get here via car. We could do it remotely, though.
I think so.
I think it would be better in person if we set up a studio and we actually started live streaming. There's lots of opportunity like that, though. A beer review would be good. A whiskey review would be good. I don't know how many people would watch, but if we drank enough beers, I guarantee it would be entertaining.
Towards the end, at least.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, the more you drink, the better these live streams tend to get to a certain point, and then you just pass out on the table, and it's not fun for anybody at that point.
Well, if you guys know a weird beer you want us to try, let us know.
Yeah,
Put it in the comment section.
As long as we can get it from post your favorite beer. What's your favorite beer? What's your least favorite beer? Let us know. This is not a beer live stream, but it's a test. We're just having some fun. We're keeping it casual. I wanted to talk a little bit about shipping, but first, before I get into shipping, I wanted to give a shout out to my wife and kids. They said they were going to be watching. If you're watching, post in the chat, post in the comments. Let me know that you're watching. I haven't seen you for a week. I miss you. I love you, and I'll see you in another week, I guess. But they told me I had to give them a shout out. It was absolutely mandatory. It was not optional. So I figured I would go ahead and get the business stuff out of the way first.
There you go.
So we could get to drinking beer and talking about shipping.
There's a lot going on right now with the holidays.
There is a lot. I mean, you know, shipping, orders, e-commerce, the whole deal gets more complex around the holidays. Why don't you tell us a little bit about, you know, ShipperHQ? What do you guys do? What services do you offer? What merchants do you serve? I'm going to make it as complicated a question as I possibly can with as many like the worst thing you could possibly do in an interview is ask like 3 questions in one. But give us the rundown on ShipperHQ.
Yeah, it's pretty common that it kind of comes across. So, and I won't. This isn't like a sales pitch, so I'll keep it pretty simple. So
give us the sales pitch.
I don't have a sales pitch. But so ShipperHQ is an extension that plugs into your cart and checkout. You know, we've been doing shipping for a decade now under web shop apps. We took our, the best in pieces of some of our extensions, rolled them into one, that's ShipperHQ. So it's that pre-order piece, that cart and checkout piece thing that allow you to do things like, rate for multiple warehouses, show a calendar so customers can select when they want their products to arrive on, shipping hazardous goods and restrictive, things like that. Really, anytime that you have a shipping scenario where you think like, man, this is pretty weird or this is complicated, that's right up our alley. That's what we thrive in.
So complicated shipping. Give us some examples of some of the craziest things you've seen from merchants that you were able to solve.
So probably my favorite stories, there's a website called sharkandreef.com. They're on BigCommerce, but they ship live sharks. And there's restrictive things around live sharks where you can't ship live sharks on certain days and after certain times because you have to pick them up from a cargo plane. So the back of the plane, you have to pick them up, and you have to have a transport case that is under a certain temperature of water, and there have to be all these rules and regulations have to be met. If not, you're like fined like crazy. And the shark, I can't remember if it gets sent back or what they do, but there's some really weird stuff around that. So like I think it's on Tuesdays you can't ship sharks.
Okay.
I'm not kidding. Like we need a fact checker for this show.
Yeah, who's somebody out there? Look it up, Google it. I can't I'm used to on this.
Daniel,
live
if you're
stream,
watching, will you check me on that?
I'm used to on this live stream. It's switching to the other guest that's speaking, so then I can get on the computer and I'm typing and I'm looking things up and I'm checking on stuff and communicating with the chat and all that stuff. But now I'm on camera, so he's talking and I'm over here like hammering away on the keyboard. I'm going to try to keep that to a minimum. But keep posting stuff in the chat. We can see it. We can respond to it. But shipping sharks. Now, that's one of those that makes a good case study. Like I feel like you should hire a video crew to go film how you actually ship a shark and why a shark can't be shipped on Tuesday and turn that into if we can handle this, we can handle your shipping. I feel like you should do that.
That's a great idea.
Right.
make a marker of the time. Melanie, I need you to watch this and make that happen.
Just watch it all back.
I'm doing a
We
lot
need
of
the
delegating
views.
right now.
That's what happens when you get to drink in the afternoon at work. You just delegated everybody else because you're pretty much spent for the day.
Before I walked in here, I said, all right, sales team, I am going to go day drink with TJ, so I will not be doing anything else for the rest of the day. So appreciate you coming in.
That is definitely how it goes. And that's one of the reasons I have this on Friday afternoon. I know we've debated back and forth about changing the time, the days, and we may still. I like it being, for me, I like it being the end of the week. I like it being in the afternoon. This kind of marks the end of getting anything terribly productive done. I mean, most of the time I'm still in the office for a few hours after this and doing something.
It's a good way to mellow out the week. It's a good way to end the week. It's like you went on a high note. It's like, you know what? It's Friday after you have lunch. It's like, look, I'm really not going to do anything for the rest of the day. I work after Fridays after lunch. Of course I do. But it's like it's relaxing. You just want to, sit down. You'll put on the live stream. We put it out in the bullpen. We just watch that.
Yep.
It's good stuff.
Good. Yeah, and, it takes about an hour to set this thing up. It took me about an hour here, although we don't have quite as an elaborate a setup as we run on a normal live stream. But it still, it takes a couple hours, and then you stream for an hour. Normally, there's the best conversations tend to happen on camera after we end the live stream. I really should start recording those and releasing the after conversations, but I feel like if I did that, then they wouldn't be as good of conversations because people tend to open up after you're off stream and they can just be frank about everything. A lot of great conversations in those after parties. So
The before part too, because when I did that live stream with you, one of the first ones, the before part was fun too. You just kind of sit there, you shoot I don't know if you can swear on this. You shoot the stuff, and it's nice. It's a very. I've probably already sworn already. I don't know why I'm censoring this.
Oh, I don't. It doesn't matter. I mean, you swear. That's fine. What curse word? What's your favorite?
I don't know. My favorite swear word. I would probably say I'm a big fan of the word shit. Like That's a good word, and I feel like
it's useful.
Yeah, Karen hates when I swear, but it's her fault because she's British. I never swore until I started working for British people.
I don't know if British people know any other words. Right?
She's gonna come knock on this door here.
I know she's in the chat here. She's been running. I saw her going down the hall. I thought she was leaving. She may still be around here. We can't give her too hard of a time because there is a door right behind us. But it's okay. That's the fun thing about this is you never know what's going to happen when you're out and about. People could start knocking on the walls. We're in Austin. We could get flooded out. At least we're on the second floor. Hopefully, we'll be able to swim to safety. I come into Texas last Sunday, right? 13-hour drive. I left home, and we had a hurricane come through. And we got the west side of the hurricane, and it kind of turned, so we got the northwest side. So it wasn't too bad, but we got a lot of wind and a lot of rain, and it rained for a few days, and it finally got one good day. And I used that day to drive to Texas, and I have not seen the sun since. Like, and no joke, it's stopped raining off and on, but it has been a sheet of clouds. Like, the sun has not been out.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, we're getting attacked here. We're getting attacked. Hey, this is not we didn't even have a weapon. We were completely unprepared. All right, this is how we're going to pay her back, though. This is how we're going to pay her back right here. Let's watch this.
I'm about to tweet out Karen's cell phone number.
All right, we're going to try something new. We're going to try something new right here. I'm going to try to go mobile, okay?
Oh,
this is cool. Something I wanted to be able to do for the conferences that we're going to be streaming at. So I'm going to attempt to go mobile here.
I also know TJ's password now, so if y'all want it, it's $10.
Okay. It's good. It's not that. I can change it. It's fine. Let's see if we can get this thing going here. All right, so we're going to switch to, it's upside down. That's not good. I'm going to switch my camera around here because my picture's upside down. Y'all going to be looking at us upside down.
I wish I had a video to record what TJ has here because it's so cool. Like, the setup is so awesome. He's got, like, everything rigged up. He's got cameras.
We could go multicam. We could do all sorts of things. I'm going to turn the audio off on this. That may be causing y'all some grief. Let's see if this works. Okay.
Now we
are mobile, and I can switch to selfie mode here.
Oh, that is super cool.
So let's go. we pay them back. See, now they're all going to be on camera here.
I feel like we're in cheaters right now. Get away from my desk.
Here, I have no.
This is pure chaos.
This is where.
The police are on their way. This office is chaos. This is super cool.
This is one of the reasons we bought a new computer, and this is actually being streamed off my cell phone for those that want to know. We can use the cell phone as a webcam on the live stream, and we can switch to it just like any other camera input. You can see the setup here. We are live streaming there. Window for some light. The camera set up over there. So we're going to switch back to the regular cam and see if we can't get this thing back normal. All right, so see if we can switch back here.
I think you should. I think you should do a live stream about the stuff that you use to live stream.
Yeah, I definitely need to do a video talking about
like the process.
Did we lose audio? Is audio back? Can you guys? Okay, sorry about that, guys. I didn't realize the apparently the camera is on Wi-Fi, and so the camera can go and anywhere the Wi-Fi connection picks up, but these are actually wireless. So I didn't realize I could switch to the camera audio, but I don't have that set up. But see, that's why we do these tests, right? That's why we test these things. Now I know that, so that at Mage Titans and Meet Magento New York, when I go stream, I'll know to use the onboard audio. And I've got a microphone and stuff that fits on this rig too, so we can have really clear audio on this. So I apologize for that. You missed some fun stuff. They said they just solved world hunger in there, and we didn't write it down, and now it wasn't on the stream. So, sorry. But so I'm reading the chat here. A lot of you about the, let me know about the audio. And Chris, Chris Brown mentions that it is a very nice office.
Thank you, Chris.
It is a very, very nice office.
Go Browns.
All we heard was the police are on their way. So they could hear your microphone because you were standing closer to. So these mics are wireless, and they post to this little deal here that connects to this audio interface I have over here off camera. And so now I know their range, which is apparently not that far through walls. But we will try to do better next time. Jamie mentions that the British are bleeped when they swear. This time they just took the audio completely. Yeah, it was not intentional. We just got too far away from the audio source. I know now not to do that. So let's see.
That was a good trial run, though. It's good to know it's good to stretch the limits.
We are always trying to push the limits of what we can and can't do. That's why I like all of this whole rig here fits in a backpack over there. I'll show you. Let me show you the backpack here. We'll switch to this video here. We've got that incredibly large backpack. All of these are cases for all the different mics, and everything fits into that one backpack, so I can actually get onto a plane with it. So by fitting in the backpack, that's good, but it's also kind of complicated. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, and it is very, very heavy. We had to get a laptop. We obviously can't put a desktop in there, which is what we've been streaming with. The microphones, we can't bring like that Heil PR40 I typically use for the live streams. Obviously, that doesn't work, even though, because it just takes up so much space. We do have a lot of extra stuff. I still bring, like when I went to Meet Magento New York. You were at Meet Magento New York last year.
I've yet to go to Meet Magento New York. I have not been at that conference yet. It's in for next year. I'm going to it next year. Okay. Hell or high water, I'm going to it next year.
If you go this year, by the way, if you haven't bought your Meet Magento New York tickets, hit me up. I'll give you a discount code, save you a couple of $100 off of it.
You're like an influencer.
I'm kind of a big deal. See, he's got nothing to say about that.
I'm absolutely like I the stuff you have and like the rigs, and it's so cool. Like looking at like the laptops and everything, how it's hooked up. Like how long? Like when I walked in the office this morning, super late, you had already you were setting this stuff up. Like it must have taken you hours.
No, actually, I just started when you got here, and most of the time I spent was like adding the ShipperHQ graphic and stuff to the bottom, which on my screen here looks like it's a little cut off, but that could just be, it's not. The way my screen is. So I was setting up new graphics. I was testing the audio and stuff.
Kick Alex out of the chat. Alex, turn this off. You're not allowed to watch this.
Packers fan.
This isn't for the Packers fans.
Well, Chris Brown is saying the Browns are going to be Super Bowl champs 2019. Apparently, he's really bought into some Baker Mayfield stock or something.
I mean, he's from here. Did you know that? Baker Mayfield's from Lake Travis.
I didn't know that. Well, I mean, I knew he was from Texas.
Yeah, he's from right up the road. You drove past it from up where you're staying. He's up from there.
I drove by, but I was hanging out with Baker Mayfield up at Lake Travis before I came here. just hanging out. No.
Drew Brees is from here as well.
Drew Brees. So this is like quarterback central right here.
And what's his name? Nick Foles. Nick Foles is from here as well.
Well, you know how many professional players are from where I'm from?
6.
Current players, none. I think, yeah, none.
I was close.
Yeah, 6 is close to
6,
none.
0, they look similar.
I mean, there's quite a few that through the years. I mean, if you count Auburn, but they're not from Auburn. They just pass through on their way to getting paid, or maybe they get paid to go to Auburn, and then they get paid more. I mean, I'm open to that debate if y'all want to have it. Completely okay. Karen Baker wants to talk about the disappearance of monolithic e-commerce platforms and the Forrester talk in Barcelona.
What does monolithic mean?
Let's Google it. Let's get a definition. We are a non-technical talk. I've got my idea of what monolithic is, but I want to actually read. Half the keys don't work on this thing.
You got to break it in.
Well, I bought this is a Windows laptop because the software I use only works on Windows. This is the first Windows laptop I've had in over a decade, and I'm not loving it. Let's put it that way. It does good for the live stream. It's got, it's got a 1070 graphics card, NVIDIA graphics card. It's got a, it was 8th generation i7 and 16 gigs of RAM and all of that nonsense. But it's the little stuff. Like the keys don't work half the time, or it keeps asking me to update. That stuff kind of drives me crazy. So the definition of monolithic, formed of a single large block of stone, or large, powerful, and intractably indivisible and uniform. Okay, so and I don't really know. I've been a little bit out of the loop on. So I'm not sure what you mean by the Forrester talk in Barcelona. I'm assuming at Magento Live Barcelona, but I didn't see it, so I'm not sure there. But talking about monolithic, a lot of the problem you have in any sort of system, and e-commerce is one of those systems, is that the bigger and more complex laying around in your code and services that you're not leveraging that are just turned off or hidden, you break it down into smaller consumable bytes so that you could just have a more efficient system. And even big systems like Magento themselves are starting to do this. Magento is kind of moving toward having kind of their own microservices, and you'll be able to leverage just the pieces of it you need. You see a lot of organizations, they'll start going to, and we'll start seeing this more and more as content becomes even more important. It's already important, but it'll continue to grow, and there'll be other systems you have to integrate with and things. You start seeing people really just looking for the basics that fit their need. And so the basics for e-commerce might be a SaaS platform, or it might be Magento. And so you go with the minimum that fits what you need, and you make that just the e-commerce portion of your much larger infrastructure of microservices. And so you might have a content management system, you might have an e-commerce system, but it's better to be a simplified system instead of just this unbelievable bloat of complexity that takes a ton of resources to manage and maintain. I mean, that's my feeling on it. We're going to see a continued push toward a simplification of systems. And so because we're adding more complexity and more systems, the systems we deal with, we need them to be simpler.
I agree with you on that. Really, like, I think it was very well worded. I think that it's one of the things you touched on with Magento, kind of simplifying those things. Because one of the things that I still don't, like, I wouldn't say, like, understand, but, like, I think that for merchants who use Magento, it's just a different kind of love. And so for them, they just want it to work. Like, they don't want to have, all of this extra stuff to it. Like, by breaking things down and making it, like, this is what I need, that's what I need. This is, like, almost like building blocks. Like, I can build that piece, that's what I want. I don't need to use, end to end.
Right.
And that's one of the things we see with our merchants is they really don't care about what the site is built on. I mean, because, like, they don't nerd over, the technology like we do. They just want it to work. And so those, the SaaS and what Magento is doing, I think, is really good because it's making it so, it's less about, the platform overall and having to know, like, inside these theme folders and stuff like that. Just knowing, like, yep, you drag and drop, bring it together. Like, I think that's, like it's getting simpler and simpler for a good reason. And you still need the technical stuff, but it's interesting to think about. Like, it's, I think that the days of, the savvy person who's like, I need Magento because it's Magento. Some people just say, look, I can scale it back and I can do it with something else. Like, I think that and I know we're talking, this isn't the same thing, but I'm off kind of on a tangent, but it's the same mindset in a different thing.
Right. No, it is definitely related. People just want it to work is really what it boils down to, and anything that stands in that way of it doing exactly what they need to is a problem. So, like, for instance, I mean, we still have to have some conversations around a potential client that could use some of the things your system does, but they're like, we don't want all of these other parts of it that we don't need. And maybe we can service that, maybe we don't, but they feel like even if it's not fair or true, they feel like they're paying for things they're not using if they don't need those features. And so, even if it's just those features are just free and they're there, oftentimes, it's still that perception of, we got a bunch of crap here we're not using, and it makes my life more complicated. So Karen is asking, why is WebSphere dying? Old tech? What are your feelings on WebSphere?
My feelings is I'm 26 years old, and I don't know what WebSphere is.
Okay.
Pass that to you, TJ.
Yeah. Honestly, my answer is I'm 39 years old, and I barely know what WebSphere is. Let's talk in generalities. I don't know specifically WebSphere. I don't keep up with their community. I don't keep up with what they're doing with the platform or any of the such. Why does software die? Usually, oftentimes, it's the company who owns that software taking their eye off the ball and not pushing that software towards where whatever market it serves is headed. And you've got to stay, the software platforms, they don't really want to be the pioneers that devise new tech and push new stuff. You want to be aggressive enough to be right behind the pioneers to adopt that technology and adapt it into your platform and make your platform what the cutting edge of e-commerce needs. And so, the vast majority of merchants don't need cutting edge e-commerce. They need good, stable, efficient e-commerce. We're talking about things like progressive web apps and all of that stuff. And I'm really fond of them, and we're really pushing hard toward PWAs right now. But the vast majority of merchants, that's just going to be out of their reach for a while financially. And it's not something that they absolutely have to have. So, pushing in that direction is good because that leads you to the hype you need to be able to sell your platform. It requires an awful lot of hype to sell an e-commerce platform because most merchants don't know. What do they know? I want to sell something. Will this do it? And that's all they know. And then they get all of this hype, and so then they end up picking the leaders, and you've got Gartner Magic Quadrants that are hyping you up and Forrester reports that are hyping you up, and that, that gives you some hype, and that tends to kind of ease some fears of the merchant in that, yes, this is a cutting-edge e-commerce platform, and this will do what I need it to do. And if you don't have that hype, then you start to fall off. You start to not even get into those conversations, and you start to, your community starts to dwindle down a little bit because there's not that excitement around your platform. There's not always some goal. You're not always pushing into some sort of direction that you can, you need progress to be able to rally the troops behind. And so if you take your eye off the ball as a software company and you're not always pushing towards some new objective, some new goal, then sooner or later you start to lose your momentum, and momentum is very hard to get back once you lose it. So that's my generic answer. You don't have to mute and unmute, I don't think. I think you can just keep it unmuted.
I breathe heavy.
Okay, you're a heavy breather. I will. I'll get right here. Go ahead. So what are your thoughts?
I think that you're definitely right, with tech companies, needing to, they have to appeal to it. I think that the days of, the end-all be-all it's different. People just want what they want. And so I think that you said that pretty well. Still not knowing what WebSphere is. They just need to get their shit together. WebSphere. Come on. You're better than that.
I'm sitting here watching the stream where you're just like holding the mic up to the side of your face.
I don't know what to
do
do with
my
my hands.
You're like, you stand there like, you're like this the whole time.
I'm thinking about it. I'm just like, well, I'm a fan of yours, and so I'm sitting there thinking, like, I'm ingesting what you're saying. Like, even though I'm sitting here, I'm still, like, what you're saying is like, okay, that's pretty it's like thought-provoking. So that's my thinking face.
I tend to ramble pretty well.
I think that you're a great rambler.
I'm a good rambler. Everybody has their special skill. Drinking pumpkin spice beer and rambling is my special skill.
Pumpkin spice.
Pumpkin spice, yes. Shipyard, Pumpkinhead. I highly don't recommend it. Again, if you're watching this, you're not subscribed to the channel. I don't know why.
Like and subscribe.
I feel like we're doing a pretty good job here. Although this one is a little all over the place, like some of them tend to be. But these are my favorite ones, honestly. So if you're not really into this rambling and just talking about whatever and trying to, interact with whoever's in the chat, then you probably don't want to subscribe. But if you do, if you like it, hit the subscribe button, give us a thumbs up on the video. All of those things tend to help out, help us spread the word, help us do more cool things. We're investing very heavily in equipment here. I just found out today I could have made a down payment on a condo, on a flat in Austin, Texas for what I've got in this live stream setup. So, we might want to, we need to keep progressing. It ain't quite that much.
Yeah, but like now I'm thinking about it. Yeah, now I'm just like, man, it's crazy.
And that's some of the stuff we got at the office and things. But it's not that bad. But it's, you're
pretty damn close.
We're on into the 5 figures now with this live stream setup at this point, and it just keeps getting. And there's so much more we can and want to do that the costs go up, but the return on those is not as much, right? Like this was, adding this camera and being able to roam around. That's pretty cheap. I've got most of the stuff to do that. I just had to get the software. It's a $20 app, and making sure the new live stream software supports it. So things like that are cheap, and we keep doing those. But now I've got a second camera. I've still got to buy the capture devices for that. We just bought this laptop to help do these streams.
So
it's a constant investment.
So I have some ideas for stuff for the live stream.
Okay.
I think that you should first of all do like a man on the street thing, or where you send someone to a conference, and I can go as like a Jamerson associate and then just walk around and interview people, ask the hard-hitting questions.
Okay.
So conferences you don't go to, I just need a microphone. And then do that. So, 1, plugs me to get a job. I'm probably going to get fired after this live stream. 2, I think you should interview some of your merchants, some of the customers you have. Bring them on here. The merchant story is still undersold. And I know that, like, I was looking at it might have been Brent Peterson or someone was talking about like why merchants aren't at events. Like bring a merchant on here, like have them talk about things like that. That's so interesting.
Wait, we're supposed to have customers? Where
I
we've
have
been, that's where we went wrong.
Yeah,
I mean, we're just supposed to have customers. Like as a business, we're supposed to have customers.
I think having a customer on here would mean a lot because that's the insight.
Here, I mean, just in general, we're supposed to have customers.
Yeah, we have 3.
That's where we're falling down. No, I agree with you. Right, having that merchant conversation is ideal, and we'll get there. Right, we're not quite there yet. We're going to try to do some things at Mage Titans. We'll see. They were supposed to have us a room set up. He said he had a room available. I don't know if that'll work out, but what I planned on doing is not just live streaming. I'm going to live stream some there, but I've got the 2 cameras set up. I've got all of this stuff. I'm going to try to shoot some interviews. So if you're going to be at Mage Titans or Meet Magento New York, hit me up. I'd love to get some Magento community members, shoot some interviews. It's not going to be a live stream interview. We're just going to ask a few questions, talk for 15 minutes or so, and then edit that down into a 10-minute story about whomever that is, and then post that on the channel. Release one a week for several months.
That's a great idea. And my last one was I don't know if you already do this. You should make these a podcast. The visuals are good, but like the audio's pretty good. The audio's good.
We need to take it up a notch, but we have been dropping them on eCommerceaholic podcast.
Oh, okay.
They're on there. We've cut back some resources recently, so the person that's been doing that is no longer with us. So we've got to get back to that. The last couple haven't been extracted. We've been posting the video on the Jamerson site with a summary, so you can just quickly go through.
Oh, nice. That's good.
And then click to it. Again, we've fallen down on that a little bit, but give me a little bit of time. During the holidays, we're going to try to get all that sorted back out and get those initiatives moving back forward, because you could keep buying equipment and all of this stuff, and that's good, but if we don't give it to you in a format that you want to consume it in, it doesn't really matter. I mean, none of that makes a difference. So we're trying to make it easy to consume. We're cutting out little clips and using them on social media. Lots of different things. All right, try to make it as useful as we possibly can, because we want you to watch. We want you to be able to, if you choose to do so. Again, the chat is kind of dying down on us a little bit here. If you got anything particular you want us to talk about, hit us up in the chat. That's what we're here for.
There's some shipping talk to talk about.
Yeah, okay. I see Jamie there. He's got one. I missed that one. Jamie said, let's talk shopping. I'm assuming shipping rates and compound pricing when diversifying our sources of fulfillment along the supply chain. See, now he's asking ones that have big words that you know better than I do.
I do. I know what he's talking about now. The word monolithic, no idea. Those words, I know. I mean, that's a pretty interesting question. I think it kind of depends on, I think that with shipping, it's always more than you think. Like there's a piece to it that people just don't think about. Like, I mean, that's kind of what we cut our teeth on. Like we're that cart and checkout piece. Like we're that so I think of this pre-order and this post-order. And then before there's pre-order, there's also the warehousing and things like that. And so for Jamie's question, he's asking, talking about shipping rates and how to diversify the sources of fulfillment. Shipping rates is an interesting thing. I think that, you generally need to get in bed with, a carrier that you like and, ship through them, or find like a 3PL, like a third-party logistics company that can actually, they go out and broker the rates. Like we have a partner they're called Retrans. They are a freight company and they're a 3PL. So they negotiate the relationships with all of the carriers. You just talk to them. So talking to someone like a 3PL is really good for, smaller or larger companies, because it gives you a network and access to all of these carriers that you might not be able to talk to. And they have small package ones. They have, small package little stuff, LTL, freight, big truck, stuff like that. That's a good way to do it. As far as, the fulfillment centers, it depends on, do you own your fulfillment center? Is it your place, or do you outsource that? If you own the place, I mean, then you can start getting to things like, pick and pack lines. There's a lot of software around that can help expedite that. There's things that you can do, just best practices around that can help speed that up and help that efficiency. So, I mean, little things like that of like knowing, investing the time and looking at it and saying like, right, one of the things I studied in college was I have a degree in industrial engineering. So manufacturing is a big thing you do. You count your steps in your warehouse, put the things that you need them, put the things that people use near them. Like little things like that. Like there's small, little tiny things that just kind of add their way up. And we're still talking about shipping. Like that's the thing. Is like we're still talking about shipping a package, even though we're talking about warehouse practice. Like it's an all-encompassing thing.
Off mute here. We've got a few more here. Quentin, you should talk about how to take on Amazon around free shipping and date time aspects. I mean, that's a big thing that Amazon really, really pushed everyone, right? I mean, free shipping, free overnight shipping. Like I go to Amazon when I need something quick.
They set the expectations of the merchant.
Right, absolutely. So how does a small merchant compete with that?
I mean, there's a lot of things that you can do. Free shipping doesn't have to be free for the merchant. There's different ideas depending on like how people are. Some of them say that you need to. I'm going to show free shipping, but I'm going to roll the cost of the item into my product and vice versa. There's that thing of like, do I want to have the cheapest product and the most expensive shipping, or do I want to have the most expensive shipping and the cheapest product? If I have the cheapest product, they're already in the door. So what we tell these merchants is that, get your weights, get your dims. Like let's calculate the right amount so you know what you're doing, and then you can kind of go from there. So you can establish that baseline and go, right, this is exactly how much this is going to cost me from UPS, and then you can start doing things around it, like setting thresholds. Let's say that if I sell at least $100 worth of this product, this certain group of products, I can ship these for free. Like the margins on those are good. And the ability to set those things like that and to say, hey, surcharge, next day shipping, because people want their product. Like if you're buying a product online, I can't remember the stats off the top of my head. So this is a potential fake news. So someone out here fact check me. But I'm pretty sure it's around 40% of people that are buying things online actually want the product in the next 2 days. So one of the things you can do is you can actually monetize that. You can add a percentage on top of that and say, right, I want to put a little bit more money off of this into my pocket. Get a few bucks off that. Surcharge it 5-10%. Throw $5 on it. You get a few of those, and you've got some cash. Like shipping doesn't need to be a cost. Like, it doesn't need to be a spend. It could be a revenue earner, which some people don't think about. One of the other things that's on here is the date and time. That whole thing. This item delivers on. That is such a big, powerful thing because, people, if you're in like a area like New York, you're planning your day around when your package comes. So things like UPS access points are good because you ship it to a location and you pick it up from there. But Amazon has just set it so, every customer, to compete with them, because Amazon sells pretty much everything. And so, like, let's say I'm on, one of our customer sites, let's say I'm buying coffee, Intelligentsia Coffee. They're a Magento 2 customer. I think they won some awards. Let's say they sell their coffee on Amazon. If you're on Amazon, you know exactly when that item ships. So you might think, you know what, I should go to Amazon. But Intelligentsia uses the date and time. So they use that to their advantage. So their small store has that same, not small, but they have that same ability to show when that item comes. Because that's what customers want. Like we're in a gimme time. And to show this when the item delivers or show a calendar when they want to select their items, like those things are, it diversifies your store. It doesn't matter what industry you're in either. Because it's a good way. Here's a tip. If you're in an industry that's, kind of like if you're selling airsoft guns, like we have a customer who sells airsoft guns, but they show an estimated delivery date. None of their other competitors do. But like just those little things like that can set you apart. It's just a small thing. It's in your cart and checkout.
All right. So now we're talking about complex shipping. So see, I promised you that in the title, and it only took 45 minutes to get to it. So that's the way we do. By the way, these Oktoberfest need a bottle opener. So,
Can I get a bottle opener into this room,
paging
please?
a bottle opener, if anybody's listening. We got like a 30-second delay, so it may take a little while.
Bottle opener, please.
We've got Anthony Walker here. He's talking about a 24-hour streaming e-commerce radio.
We'll do it if you bring us a bottle opener, Tony.
That's an interesting thing in that there's a gentleman on YouTube named Daryl Eves, and he organizes Video Summit, I believe it is. It's a video conference, YouTube conference that happened last week, I believe it was. Maybe the week before. No, I did not go. It was in L.A. I wanted to, but I wasn't able to make it. But what he did was kind of interesting. He set up this rig. It's a backpack, and it's got 5 different cellular modems on it for different carriers. And he's got this device that's a very expensive device, and it connects to a camera like this one or this camera or whatever camera you connect it to, and it breaks that up and sends it up via, because cell uploads is not fast, so it breaks it up via those 5 modems, sends it up, and then connects it to a computer like this one and streams it out. And so he did a 24-hour stream for 5 consecutive days.
Wow.
During the conference. They're bringing the bottles.
Thank you. Web Shop Apps one too.
Yeah, all right.
That's vintage.
That's old school right there, the Web Shop Apps.
You can have that.
Thank you.
A little
Thank
souvenir.
But it was kind of cool. He streamed 24 hours. I think that would be incredible at something like Imagine, although you can't take a camera into a casino. But,
really?
You know, yeah, they won't let you, like, film in the casino floor because there are people in there that maybe shouldn't be there.
I know you – oh, okay. I know you can't at tables because I've, like, played craps before and, like, got a phone call.
Yeah.
And that was a harsh conversation.
Yeah,
well,
they don't.
It wasn't a conversation. It was a harsh being yelled at.
But if you're walking around in there, there's no really film. I mean, you could film at the entrance. You could film back in the hallways and, you know, in your room all you want. But
you have to get those Snapchat glasses like Sherry has.
Yeah, the spectacles.
I'm surprised you don't have a pair. There's probably a pair in that bag.
There is not a pair in that bag, although I have thought about. I don't know if you can, like, tie them to this streaming setup, but.
That's true. It's not good just for Snapchat. But, like, to have those on there, that'd be pretty cool. It'd be like some secret agent stuff.
Little cameras that connect, like, snap to glasses, and then you can walk around and stuff. That would be neat, especially if you just were recording, right? And you were just walking around recording, walking through a conference and stuff. We're going to try to do something really special for Imagine as far as live streaming and video shooting and those kinds of things. But we've got to figure out exactly what that looks like because a 24-hour live stream probably not going to happen.
Have you ever stayed awake for 24 hours?
Yeah, multiple times. I mean, I was in architecture when I started college.
Were you really?
So there were like weeks where you would get like just minutes of sleep. So yeah, usually the trick to sleep is, and this is what we learned in college, is
fun fact for everyone at home.
Yeah, if you go to sleep when it's dark and you wake up daylight, your body feels like it's gotten more sleep than it may have actually done. So when we were in architecture, you know, if it's 30 minutes before sunrise, you'd go to sleep and you'd get an hour's worth of sleep to 30 minutes after sunrise, and it felt like you had gotten 4 or so hours of sleep.
That's really cool.
But it's one of those where when you're going all night, around 22, 23 hours, you get really, really tired. But if you can push through till about 30 hours, you actually get in this nice little zone where, you know, you're tired but not exhausted, and your body will push through until you get on into the 40s.
Are you a coffee or energy drink guy, though?
Neither one, really.
Really?
Back then in college, neither at all. Yeah.
All natural.
Yeah, I don't really take a lot of medication. I don't really drink a lot of energy drinks. I drink a lot of beer. But that doesn't really. That does actually give you. I mean, a lot of carbs in that. But
it makes me sleepy. If I drink one beer, I get sleepy.
I don't have that problem.
Oh, if I drink one beer, like I usually don't drink beer at lunch anymore because 1, I need to work. 2, I get like sleepy at my desk. I get like drowsy.
Maybe you can't handle the gluten. I mean, we're in Austin, free, right?
Yeah, including those sandwiches we ate. I think it's weird because like I grew up in like the Red Bull energy drink era. So in college they were everywhere. Even though like I'm pretty sure our university didn't sell them in a couple of the places because they weren't like I think some kid had like a heart attack. I'm saying that so casually. Yeah. I'm pretty sure a kid had a heart attack in our library. Well, so they quit selling them. But I think it's a good thing. Like,
I can't say necessarily that I never drank energy drinks because it was some sort of healthy choice. I mean, look at me. I haven't made a ton of healthy choices in my life. But I was broke.
Fair.
I'm not paying $3 for a drink.
Fair.
Water just comes out of the ground.
Very, very fair.
So, it is what it is. We got another comment here. Karthik Malareddy. Hopefully I said that right. Let me know if not. Does ShipperHQ integrate with multi-vendor marketplace in Magento 2 so that each vendor can set his own rates and prices? I mean, that sounds custom, but if you had a marketplace, if you know, a lot of people are quoting marketplaces or asking for marketplaces nowadays. I've yet to see one that's adequately funded, but if you're going to build a marketplace, can each merchant set their own shipping rates by ShipperHQ?
I think it depends on how it's set up. I mean, you can hook up, it depends if they're all like within the same Magento instance, because you can put, multiple websites. Let's say a customer has, 3 brands, but they're ran in the same instance. If they're set up that way, then you could set up shipping for each one, Because it's an API key and an auth code that hooks into your actual like ShipperHQ account.
Right.
So depending on how it's set up, Karthik, if it's within the same Magento instance and their own stores, then yeah. But no, we could talk about that offline because I think I think you're kind of right with the marketplace thing. I think it's like, I wouldn't say it's a buzzword, but it's like one of those things that they talk about it a lot. Like we've had customers who've come in and we've talked about doing some custom code for a marketplace, but then you just end up having it's a multi-store site, and you're like, right. Oh, that's not really a marketplace. It's just multi-store. Like, what are we talking about? So I think the answer to that is maybe. Depends on specifics, but I'm happy to follow up with you after this.
Yeah, might be able to figure it out with some APIs. So
yeah.
If we have any other questions, we've been going for about an hour. It is getting a little bit warm in here. I'm starting to sweat a little bit.
I don't know why. It's all the hot air, I guess.
Yeah, it's us in this room. Our body bringing it up with the door closed, I guess. Of course, we got the bottle opener. We haven't even opened a bottle. I'm trying to force myself to drink the pumpkin spice beer.
I was really surprised you opened the second one.
Only because I couldn't get one of those opened. I tried. It's on camera. Y'all can rewind it.
I saw you looked at it.
I looked at it and I was like, that doesn't open, and I put it back. And I was right about this. As the more you drink it, the less delicious it gets. It didn't start off delicious. It gets less delicious. How to reach you?
You can send me an email just to sales@shipperhq.com, or if you can he send you a message? If you send the message into this with your email address, I'll shoot you an email. If you can just so that maybe you don't want to share it to everyone, you can do it privately, and we'll get with you. Yeah, you can just throw that sales@ShipperHQ in there as well. That's great. I like these questions. I'm all in. Who else has shipping questions?
No, that's what we're here for. We're here for tough shipping questions. And if you guys don't give us some shipping questions, then we're going to get off this live stream here shortly.
You know what's really hard to ship?
What's that?
Vape equipment.
Why?
Because weirdly enough, like there's parts of the actual thing, like there's the battery, which those can't ship in the air because they explode. They're lithium batteries, so that's tricky. There's also the coils, and the coils can't go to certain places. Like certain parts of the items can't go there. Like for the state of Utah, you can ship vape equipment, but there's 6 zip codes that you can't sell the equipment into. And the liquid, you can only sell a certain amount, like a certain fluid ounce. It's crazy. Like, it's a weird thing to ship.
That's strange. And I figured, there's something there with tobacco laws and things that cause you some problems.
They're still kind of in that bit of like a gray area still.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a weirdly restrictive thing that just the more and more it happens, it gets more restrictive. There's all kinds of stuff that's hard to ship, like aerosol cans. Can't ship in the air because they might combust. That's a weird one.
So you guys handle all of that though, right? Like we can go in and say I can't sell to these 7 zip codes.
Yep. Or it's certain other things are like pocket knives.
Okay.
You can't sell spring-loaded pocket knives into Baltimore, Chicago. I think it's like certain boroughs of New York.
So what if you did?
Oh, then you can get in a lot of trouble. Like, so like you can get there can be like action taken against you.
Really?
Yeah. So they're like legal action. And so, there's also things like shipping internationally. So, certain products can't go to certain areas. Like, we have a company that sells workout stuff, and they're a very, very prominent very prominent company. But you can't sell those powders and things into certain areas of Europe because there's some sort of chemical in them. So it's a bit tricky. So there's this massive thing of internationally that you have to keep track of that we just automated actually. So we just landed like a duties and taxes calculator. So we partnered with a company called Hurricane, which allows you to do the duties and taxes. So when it's going from country to country, no matter where it is, Hurricane will work with you and put all the harmonization codes, country of origin, all of that information on your product. And so when it ships internationally, they handle that. So our integration with them. So instead of having to do them yourselves and set them up within ShipperHQ, like all that's going to be automated. So shipping domestically, outbound to anywhere in the world is tricky, but it's even easier now.
So as far as like the pocket knives, for instance, I mean, a spring-loaded pocket knife is different than a fixed blade knife or a folding knife or something like that. So I'm assuming spring-loaded, you're talking about like what most people would consider like a switchblade or something like that, which is just silly. Like, I mean, open your knife regular if you're going to stab somebody with it.
I guess, and then that's the funny argument to it, that it's like, we won't sell the spring-loaded ones to you guys. You won't stab each other, but the spring-loaded ones are going to be like, you know what? I'm going to get that guy.
Yeah. Spring-loaded knives are just evil. That's what it is.
Yeah, but
Evil people only use spring-loaded knives.
I've never seen an evil guy with a regular pocket knife.
Yeah, well, at least not in a movie. Any movie I've ever. It's always that switchblade.
But don't they look so cool? Like not the whole like about to stab someone, but like a switchblade looks cool.
It does, also like a butterfly when they, if you can just do the little flip with it, and
Yeah,
it opens up, right? But that's not illegal.
No, but it's dangerous. I have a scar. I have a scar on my finger from one of those. Look, it's right there.
He does have a scar. I can.
There's a scar on my finger.
Because he doesn't know how to use a knife. If he only had a spring-loaded knife, he would not have a
That's
scar.
true.
He would
No.
not have almost lost his finger.
I bought that at the Canton Trades Day. I think I bought it when I was like 11, and I didn't tell my parents I bought it. Like I went off with like $15, and I bought this knife, and I came back, and both my parents, my dad's ran ERs since I was a kid, and I came in, and I was holding my finger, and like I had it like above my head, and I was like, and my dad walked in. He's like, "What'd you do?" I was like, "Oh, I was in my room doing something," and he looked at my hand and was like, "You cut that with a knife. Where's the knife?" And then, yeah, it was a bad day.
Jeez. Little Quentin, just a troublemaker.
This scar is from last week. No, but yeah, the spring-loaded knife thing is weird because you have to classify it. So you have to like say on the product, "Hey, these items we need to treat differently than the other ones." And it's weird things like that.
So you have to identify. Say you're in Magento, you have to identify that product as
Yep.
a spring-loaded rule or something like that, and it passes through to ShipperHQ.
So we have like a shipping group allows you to like group products together that you want to treat differently than others. So in this case, like the spring-loaded would be the shipping group. You can call it whatever name you want, and it's made with like a Magento attribute. So you tag all those products you want that way, and then within like the ShipperHQ dashboard, you set up your rule. And the rule is pretty much like an if statement. If this item is in the cart, then hide shipping.
Right.
And so when the item is out of the cart, you put estimated shipping and tax. It'll go out, calls our servers, blah, 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 bing, bang, boom, and it'll go, "Hey, sorry, we can't send that area." It'll pass it back, and you can do a custom error message so it can say, "Hey, we're sorry, spring-loaded knives can't be sold into your area. Please buy a regular one."
Yeah. Here's a very similar knife that is not malicious.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the thing is like it's just a spring-loaded one. It's all it's weird. Like and that's what the more you work, and that's one of the fun things is that like every day you learn about like something else that's really really hard to ship. Like shipping food is so hard, but it's cool. Like ice cream, chocolate, all that stuff, cakes, all that stuff.
Now, what's the complexities in shipping cakes?
So,
Obviously super delicate, but other than that,
also okay. So you just think that, but like imagine you're like let's say we're sitting here, and, you miss your wife, you miss the family.
I do. Hey, by the way, if you're watching, she just texted me on the phone there, said she had picked up. She missed my shout out earlier. Miss you, love you.
He never did a shout out.
I didn't do a shout out earlier. No,
Anyways, so let's say you're.
I'm sending her a cake. I miss her. I may mail you a cake.
All right. Well, after he hears this, if he doesn't send you a cake. Anyways, so like you think about it. So let's say we're gonna order a cake, and you want that cake to be as fresh as possible. So you need to, and let's say we're doing like we're putting everyone's name on it, putting the whole family's name on it. You have to set a lead time for that cake to be baked. Like so you can set a lead time on a particular product, so we know that hey, if this item delivers tomorrow, you have to take into account that baking time. And you also don't want these items to sit in like a warehouse over the weekend. Like if you want to buy a cake, you want it to be as fresh as possible.
Right.
So you can set out like blackout transit days and blackout delivery days. So you can say that, hey, this particular cake can only be in transit for 2 days. So that way it's not going to end up, if you order it on like a Thursday and it's going to take 3 days to get there, it's not going to sit in a warehouse on Sunday.
Right. All right, so we are back with the audio here. Apparently, I've got low batteries in the microphone thing. Fantastic. We were having a great conversation talking about shipping ice cream and lobster. Again, this is one of those things we got to test, we got to learn about. I may need to see if I can't get some sort of power pack for this thing to extend the battery life, because those were brand new batteries when we started.
What kind of batteries are
Earlier today. They're just AA. I've got some extra ones. But we had moved on from cake to lobster. We had already passed cake. Apparently, cake is tough to ship because you don't want it sitting in a warehouse all weekend, and you want it to be fresh when it gets there. Basically food, you don't want sitting around. Like, food needs to be delivered when it needs to be delivered, and you don't want it, in really hot environments or things like that. So, all right, guys, I think we are going to call it a wrap for today. I think we did enough testing. We tested the mobile rig. Got some good tests off
So
of that.
cool. So cool.
We got to figure out this whole battery issue on this, but I think it's about to die again. I don't know what's up with that, but we'll make sure we have fresh batteries in it. I will see you next week. We will be streaming for Mage Titans, and then the following week, Meet Magento New York. Again, if you don't have tickets yet to Meet Magento New York, shoot me a message, hit me up on Twitter, eCommerceaholic, LinkedIn, wherever you may find me, and I'll get you a discount code. Save you a little money. Every dollar matters. Every dollar matters. It says it's going again. I'm talking, and it looks like it's working.
Jamie, do you have your speakers on?
It looks like it's working here. It looks like it's working. You make sure you're not muted. It looks like it's working. Anyway, I don't know. We'll see you guys later.
One quick thing. Don't forget we're having the pre-party for Mage Titans. We'll retweet it. Sign up. Come party with us. ShipperHQ sponsored party. It's at I don't know if it's at the Bungalow. Same place it was last year. Super, super fun bar on Rainy Street.
All right. So we're having audio problems. We're going to call it